Hey everybody, it's Mike with Monkey Fab, and today I want to talk about why it is I chose this HTP Invertig 221 machine over any other machine that was available at the time. So we have to go back in time. The year is 2012. I'm getting ready to leave the military, and I realized, like, hey, no one's going to hire an idiot to spend his entire life in the military, so you might want to figure something out, Mike, and make a job for yourself. So I had been welding for a while. Back then, I was like heavy into following the fabrication page on Honda Tech. There's a lot of superstars that started there, or they kind of coalesced there and they went on their way. Colin Toxic Fab, Ingloid, Nine Bells. He's called Unobtainium Welding now, and just like a whole group of like top tier welders, just making you feel bad about yourself. But I was watching those pages and watching what they were doing and watching what machines they were using for sure. We didn't have social media as heavily back then as we do now, where you can just get on and be like, I need a welding machine, and you'll have like flooded with experts to give you their opinion. But yeah, so I had a Dynasty, no, not Dynasty, I had a Diversion 165, and a good machine, but it just wasn't getting it done for me. I needed more amps on the AC welding, and I also wanted a bit more adjustability. I thought that pulse was like, man, if I could just have pulse, look at these guys doing this pulse stuff, and that pulse, and that's got to be pulse, and if I had pulse, I could weld like these guys. It turns out that wasn't true. It turns out you just actually have to put in the time, and you have to pay attention, and you got to make mistakes, and you got to figure out what works good. So machines help. The tools helps have the right tools, but it also is very dependent on you putting in the time to learn. So yeah, so that was kind of my criteria. There was only a couple of machines to choose from at the time, so you can always say like there's like the top tier. There was this machine, there was the Miller, Dynasty, SX, and the DX. I think the DX was the fancy one. And then there was like, Lincoln, I'm sure was in there. For me, they weren't. I think at the time they only had like a transformer machine. I was in a 2-car garage, would be for like another 5 years, and I didn't have the space. Everything in my garage was on casters, and do anything that was like Tetris to move everything around. So that basically boiled it down to either the Dynasty or the HTP. And like I saw like Colin was like a dude that I just really admired of Toxic Fab, and I know that he just started, and he was just dropping these dimes. So I was doing Army math, new welder, dropping dimes, has this machine. So if I had that machine and I'm a new welder, I could drop dimes and make it look just as good as he does. So that was influential. It was just knowing the machine was, capable, what it was capable of. And there was a lot of like Miller guys. There still are. They get kind of wed to that brand name. It's just like Chevy guys or Ford guys or whatever. I'm not that way. I'm like a value guy. I want to see what is, for what I spend, what is the value that I get from that. And that's really important to me. This machine was half the price. Like the TIG runner version of the Miller was $4.5 grand. This was like $2, around there. It's been a while since I don't know. I knew it cost $2,400. Like this machine, right? How you see this without the water cooler, just this machine was like $2,400 or $2,495, I believe. So it was half the cost. Had a lot of similar stuff. So I mean, the Miller has like some tweaks that make it a little fancier. A lot of this stuff is stuff that people will never touch, and they don't really understand how to use anyway, or they won't go that extra mile to really dig into it to learn how to get the most out of that. Even with this machine, I tend to like 90% of the time just either be on DC, straight amps, or be on AC, at like one setting that I know usually works for 90% of the stuff. Now there is fancy settings, and I like that. So the Pulse had me, I was intrigued by that. My Diversion did not have the any adjustability on AC. It was just the AC's on. So that intrigued me, because I was like, what if I could do, what if I could adjust my frequency way up? What if I could adjust my AC balance and really kind of clean things up and make the beads shiny? That intrigued me. But most of all, I need a machine that was like, you're going to earn your paycheck with this machine. It's got to be rock solid. And that was the definite decision point for me. I didn't mind spending twice the money if I was going to get exceptional value. It was a lot. Like, I don't even know. Like, I probably would have had to use like 2 credit cards. I used a credit card to get this guy. I might have had to like use 2 credit cards to go that way, but I was willing to do it. So then I dug into like, well, what happens? What happens if it breaks? Because that's to me, that's like one of the most important things. What if it breaks? And I needed to run to make money. Well, with the HTP, you call up USA Welds in Elk Grove, Illinois, I believe it is. What is it? I think I'm right. Every time I've called, there's someone who answers the phone, as long as it's not after hours or on the weekend. If I call, there's always somebody there that's picked up the phone and they want to, how can I help you? I love that. That's a good thing. Well, if these break, that's what you do. You call up, you say, hey, my machine broke. They help you diagnose what went wrong, and then they get you, to order the parts. Like, it's not covered under warranty. It's 7 years old. If something went wrong, I have to pay for the parts. No big deal. It's already earned its, it's offset its cost many times over. But they send it to you and then they talk you through, here's how you plug this in or whatever, and you're good, right? Well, with the Miller, it was like you have to take it to your local shop. I was in some rural places and it was like, it didn't leave me a lot of options. And so now you want me to take something that's really important to me, drop it off at the shop. And well, what if the dude behind the counter is a complete moron and is like just a club-handed lunatic and just, they just break your shit? Do you think they're going to tell you like, hey, I was trying to fix your thing. I ended up busting a bunch of stuff and now it's going to cost a bunch more, but don't worry, we're going to fix for the stuff. We're going to pay for the stuff we broke. I don't know, maybe. But I've always been like, if you want it done right, do it yourself kind of guy. So that talked right to me. That was the deal maker for me. So I've had it 7 years, never a problem. I have the features on it that are kind of nice. So you got AC, like I said, you can adjust the frequency. I want to say it's from 10 to 200. So you get kind of crazy with that. Maybe it's 30. Maybe it's 30 to 200. Don't quote me on it. The balance is 10 to 90. So you can crank it way up or way down. You don't need any of those extremes on either of it if you're just doing like regular aluminum wheel. You kind of need the mean, which is good. But it's nice to be able to fine tune that stuff. The pulse, you can do pulse on AC mode, and you can go from 0.4 to 10 pulses a second. You can adjust the pulse duration. You can adjust the pulse frequency. It's like how many they do a second. And you can adjust the background current. And that is also in DC mode. You can go from 0.4 to 999 pulses a second, which is crazy. And then the same thing, you can adjust the duration, and then you can adjust the background current. I've found some settings that will allow me to do a real deep penetration on something and not have the bead go all squirrely, wide and out of control. I've also found a setting that lets me weld stainless without really dumping a bunch of heat in it, minimize warpage and stuff like that. Those are I found helpful. It's nice to have. The machine's been like a diesel engine. It's never ran. I mean, I've had it for 7 years now. I started getting concerned, like, hey, what happens if this goes? I use this to everything that I have is dependent on this machine and me being able to use it and get my products out. I bought a Vulcan, and I just wanted to review that for people. I thought it was a good deal for the warranty that comes with it. They discontinued it. It's a great machine, but they just don't have it anymore, is my understanding. So anyway, that was at the time, that was my mindset. Those are the things that pushed me towards the HTP welder. I still find all that valuable. If you call me today and you say, hey, I need a business level machine, 200 amps-ish, I'm 100% gonna. I still do. I know I've sold tons of these machines, or I've influenced other people to get these machines. People that run these machines, like Max or Fifth Street Fab. This old Tony has one of these machines. Great machines. I understand that the ball field has changed since 2012, and now that you have tons of machines on the market, doesn't really change my opinion. I think that there is professional grade machines, and then there's the hobbyist set. And I think this still falls into your professional miller. Lincoln has joined the inverter scene. So I think it's relatively cheap, but it's really lacking in features and adjustability when you compare it to like an HTP. Then there's your Chinese level machines, you know, your Vulcan, the AHP, the what is that? The Everlast, a few others. They're cool, and I'm not bashing them at all. I love the Vulcan for what it is, and the fact that I could buy a 3-year warranty and I could take it back. I guess now I can only get my money back. Hopefully they come up with another replacement, because I really think for the hobbyist that was like the best thing going at the time. I've never had a problem with it, but I've never heard anybody say like, you know, there was a problem and I couldn't get it fixed or whatever. So still my number one machine of choice. All that being said, you can win this machine, and you can support veterans. That's kind of my thing. I left the military, and I really miss that part of like in the military. There's so many venues to engage with helping, and I've since left that. 2015 it's been. So I get this like longing to like Mike, you haven't done anything. You should do something. Especially I heard you know, the whole 22 soldiers are, you know, veterans, with the suicide thing just doesn't never has set well with me. It always makes me feel like you should do something, and I'm sure you guys feel the same way. But how do you help? You know, can't you go out there and throw 20s? Like, are you a veteran? Here, take a 20. Probably doesn't do it. But the PTSD Foundation of America, they run a campus. It basically looks like a college dormitory. It looks like the barracks if you've ever been in the military. And they put people in there, and they feed them, they clothe them, and they put them through a peer-led program, and they have an amazing success rate with helping people. And that's what you do, is you enable those people to do it every day. So I'm raffling this guy off. It's $10 a ticket. I'm gonna put the link down below. It's all ran from my Facebook page, so it's facebook.com/monkeyfab. The link's in the description. Go watch that video there if you want to join. It's $10 per entry. Sent PayPal to my wife via friends and family. Put your name in the description and say raffle, and we will enter you into the contest. My goal is to raise $2,000, so we have 400 slots. 200 of those slots are paying for the machine. HTP stepped in. They paid $200 off of it. They took $200 off of it, left it at like $295. I'm paying the $295. We're gonna take half. Well, we're gonna take 200 or 2,000 of that, pay off the machine, and then everything above and beyond that we raise, hopefully it's more than $2,000. That'd be great. We're going to raffle this guy off on random.org on Memorial Day this year, which is the 27th of May 2019. So the cutoff is going to be the day before, the 26th. So you got to get in there and get yourself set up to win this machine. If you do win this machine, it's already paid for. I've already paid for it, and HTP will ship it to you if you're in the continental U.S. If you're outside the continental U.S., well, you can still play along. Just realize that you're going to be responsible for the shipping. But that way, you can win a fabulous machine. The thing's just it's a workhorse. If you want to see this machine perform, I have a whole how to TIG weld video playlist, and you can just go to my playlists up above and click on how to TIG weld, and it basically walks you through from wiring up the machine, the panel, to doing thin wall stainless tubes and thin wall aluminum tubes and everything kind of in between and far-fetched. And if you follow that along, at the end of it, you will be a decent welder. So lots of arc shots of how this machine performs, and you can go there and check it out. But I really want to thank you for taking your time to check out this video. I know I'm long-winded, but I always feel like a need to make sure that I touch on all the important information. So thanks for stopping by, checking out the video. Please check out the raffle, help vets in need, and possibly win yourself one of these badass machines. So until next time, this is Mike Monkeyfab signing out.